Hi, my name is Lad Forsline. I'm with ColorFin. I'm the co-inventor and co-developer of PanPastel. I'm going to show you a few quick techniques that differentiates PanPastel from stick pastels. One of the first things you can do is you can block in large areas of color very quickly. I'm just going to take a couple of quick swipes of color off the pan and immediately go into the substrate. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change over to another color. I'm just going to wipe off the tool on the paper towel, and I'm going to go right back into a lighter color, yellow. You can see there's very little color contamination, and the colors blend very easily. You can just take a little bit, wipe a little bit of the color off on a towel, and you can go back in, and you can see the instant color mixing you get. PanPastels are loaded with color. They're really, really saturated. That's one of the nice things about putting them down on a really thin layer. Unlike regular pastels where you need a thick layer or you need to build up several layers to get strong colors, PanPastels are very saturated with color, and thin layers show up very quickly and they're very vivid. Next thing I'm going to do is show you how to use the sponge bar. The sponge bars are a replication of your finger. We have round, we have flat, and we have point. With these, you just need to take a couple little swipes of color, and you can go back in and define very thin lines. Using the other side of the tool, you can make thicker lines. And again, you'll see I'm changing colors just by wiping off lightly on a paper towel and switching from 2 or 3 different colors without any color contamination. The next thing I'm going to show you are the knives. These are the knives, they're numbered 1 through 4, corresponding tips 1 through 4. You can use both sides of the knife covers. When one gets a little bit dirty, you can just flip it over and you've got a clean side on the other side. Again, 2 or 3 swipes of color and the tool's loaded, and you can put that color down very, very quickly. Wipe it off side to side on a paper towel. That avoids the tip flying off. You can pick up another color, go back in and blend. Using the edges of these tools, of the knives, you can go from thick to thin lines very quickly. One of the things I want to show you that when you're picking up the colors on the pans, if you generally need 2 or 3 strokes of color. If you go round and around and around in the pan, you'll see all this excess dust appearing. That generally means you're over-applying, you're working the color on the pan. The tool is loaded and you're just wasting the product. That material can be picked up again on your 2nd or 3rd stroke. Just go lightly over it and you can pick that up. And I'd recommend cleaning the pans up before you put them away at night. One of the other things you can do with PanPastel is you don't have to mix right on the paper. You can actually mix right on the pans. So you can take a little bit of red and put into the yellow pan, much like you'd work on a regular fluid paint palette, and you can put down an orange color. And again, don't worry about the pans being contaminated. You can just take a clean applicator and very quickly wipe off that extra color, and you're back to the original color. PanPastels are completely compatible with all pastel sticks. I'll give you an example here. This is a regular soft pastel stick. You can draw right into that. For more detailed marks, you can blend it with your finger. You can use PanPastel, the Sofft Tools, to blend those back together if you want. They're fully erasable. This is a regular vinyl eraser. And the other thing that they're compatible with is pastel pencils. There's at some point with PanPastels you cannot make whiskers and very, very detailed marks with the Sofft Tools. There are some limitations. If you do want those small marks, you have to use pastel pencils. And you can see in this demonstration, they're fully compatible with regular pastel pencils. And you can use those marks. You can use a pastel pencil along with PanPastel to make those smaller marks. Let's see, the last thing I was going to show you is just a quick little demonstration of the low dust properties of PanPastel. I'm going to use the large applicator again. And I'm going to take a couple swipes of color, lay down some color very quickly. And you'll see I'm going to tap this paper on the side, and you'll see how little dust there is. The pastel has great adhesion to the substrates. You can snap the substrates, the material doesn't come off, and you can see from here there's nothing really that comes off of the paper. Those are just a few quick demonstrations. Again, I think it's important that when you're using PanPastels, use good studio hygiene. Wash your hands when you get done with them. They don't keep pastel off your hand, but it's a much lower dust process than regular pastel sticks. Clean the pans up when you're done before you put them away, and you'll be able to keep your studio a lot cleaner and dust-free. The painting on my right is done by Sid McGintley, and it's done with 90% PanPastel and more time than I had to show you today. Thank you for joining me.